Well, hello everybody, the History Guy here. To battle Shiloh, Union Campaign, Ultimate General Civil War. I'm playing in Brigadier General difficulty, and as you can see, we're jumping right into the action because my strategy here is, since I'm outnumbered early in the fight, to just pull back as much as possible. And as you can see, he outnumbers me about 38,000 to 23,000. So I'm dropping all my forces back, as I have done in the first couple of parts of this battle. And I'm going to pull everybody back to Pittsburg Landing, and that's where I'm going to make my stand and try to hold him, inflict as many casualties as possible, and then come back to the counterattack on day 2. So not much happening so far. I will come back when the action begins. Okay, here we go. Basically, we're going to drop back. Try to hold this line best I can. I'm going to put these 4 brigades out here covering the flank. And I'm going to start dropping units into the fortifications, with 1 in behind each of them, just to make sure that I've got plenty of cover. This guy's getting into my flank. I'll wait till my gets over there, and then I'll start dropping these guys back a little more. I'm just trying to cover for them as best I can. Alright, we're going to get O'Hare to run too. I gotta be cautious with my cannon here, because once he starts getting in close, I gotta drop them back so they don't suffer too many melee casualties. I'm actually gonna send another brigade over this way. Alright, we got the gunboats covering over here at Pittsburg Landing. Of course, numbers-wise, he's still got me by about 11,000 men, but I've got reinforcements that'll be coming here soon. I just gotta be prepared to drop these guns back. Alright, we gotta get Hampton's Legion moving a little faster. I'll bring my general over here. Alright, so he's massing all of his troops for the assault. We know it's coming. As soon as he starts moving, I gotta drop these guns. Oh, he's gonna come on this side first, I see. Alright, Hampton, turn around. Alright, we're going to bring these guys down across the river, get into Claiborne's flank. Alright, now's probably the time. Wow, Appler. Failed, dude. Jeez. You broke at the first sign of trouble. Well, he did lose their commander, I guess. So historically, this is where the Union made their stand. They had been driven all the way back on the first day of the Battle of Shiloh. General Don Carlos Buell's army arrives on the second day, overnight into the second day, which allows the Union to counterattack and take back all the ground that they had lost and turn what could have been a disaster into a victory. It was the bloodiest battle in American history to that point. And it was probably the moment that a lot of Americans realized just how bloody the war was going to be. Losing a lot of commanders. Alright, we got to hold for 3 hours still. I'm going to have some more reinforcements coming. And I'm kind of holding my own anyway. But if he decides to mass all of his troops and make a big assault, that'll get pretty ugly. Alright, here he comes again. He seems to be hitting this spot here quite a bit. But hitting with one brigade at a time, it's just suicide. It's madness. It's interesting he's not massing for an assault. I mean, he is massing for one, but he's not launching one. And now I get my reinforcements. And I'm going to throw these guys on the front lines because they're not my troops. Let them take the brunt of the casualties wherever I can. Alright, O'Hare, you can do this. It's alright, it's alright. We're bringing another unit into that position anyway. Of course, the main problem with these fortifications is how long they are for one brigade spot. So that's what weakens them when they get hit by a melee attack. They're just so spread out. But the benefits outweigh the negatives. Okay. We're going to drop Paper Collar Brigade out. I'm going to put Rousseau in. Do the same thing here with Bruce and Gibson. So now our frontline troops that are taking the casualties are not mine. Plus they're bigger units. And I now have the numerical advantage. And we're going to come down here. See if we can get into Jackson's flank. I probably could do the same over here. Probably worth a try. And here comes another assault. And another one driven back. Yeah, so he actually sent a unit up into me as I was trying to get up and around it on Jackson's flank. He sent Shaver up in a melee attack. Drop back, drop back. Alright, we're going to try to get Kite out here on Pond's flank. So Pond turns to face me, and of course that opens his flank up to the fire from the fortifications. So it's a win-win for me. Jeez, a lot of commanders going down. I'll drop these guys back just a hair, so they're in the cover from the artillery fire. Alright, there we go. Of course, I believe that probably the two most significant things to come out of this battle had nothing to do with the battle itself, but rather how it affected things moving forward. Number one, it was the first major battle that General Grant fought in. Of course, he had taken Fort Donaldson and Fort Henry before this, and that's kind of what got his name in the papers. But he was actually relieved, or replaced, I should say, after this battle. Was taken out of the field for a long time. And it was Lincoln that really kind of pushed him back into the field because they knew they needed him. And of course, from after Shiloh, then Grant's focus is on Vicksburg. The other significant things on the Confederate side, and that's that the commander of the Confederate Army here, Albert Sidney Johnston, who was one of the few known commodities going into the war, him and Lee were both men who had led large forces in battle before this and had proven themselves as commanders. And Johnston was killed at this battle. He was shot in the leg, probably severed his femoral artery, and nobody knew how serious it was because the blood all pooled in his boot. And a tourniquet may have saved his life, but he had actually sent his surgeon out to help treat some Union prisoners that they had taken, some wounded prisoners. And he ended up dying, and the fact was kept from the troops. General Beauregard took over command of the army. But I feel like after that, the South was really hurting for good army commanders in the West. So things are pretty solid here. I mean, I don't really see any weaknesses in the line. I'm going to go get everybody resupplied here. There we go. Pond is broken. Now, I'd like to move forward here and hit Gladden, but I got to be careful that Pond doesn't reform. He's dropping back pretty far. I think I'm safe for a little while. Alright, here comes another assault on the lines. I'm going to go ahead and push down again over here. I got to watch for this guy to come back again. But until he does, I've got a nice flank attack that I can put on Gladden. Start rolling up this line. Okay, there's another one. Now I'm going to bring my GAT down just to cover in case one of these brigades reforms and comes back. But I'm going to continue this flanking action. This is actually, here comes Pond. So this is actually something that happened at Gettysburg during Pickett's charge. If you look at what happened in that assault, as the divisions of under Pickett, Trimble, and Pettigrew came at the center, pretend this is the center of the Union line and the Confederates are coming from this way. You had General Stannard's brigade came out on this side for the Union and got into the flank. And I think it was the 8th Ohio on this side came out, and they were outnumbered about 5-1 with the troops they were firing against. But they just decimated the leftmost brigade of the attack and just sent them running. So it was a very effective strategy, even when defending against an assault, to bring your brigades out. Of course, now I've got a situation here where I'm outnumbered, and there's no benefit to a flank attack at this point. So I'm going to drop these guys back. Where did... Oh, he's back there. Okay. Alright, so we'll drop my GAT back for now. We'll let these guys come in and then we'll repeat. Main thing here is that I'm inflicting plenty of casualties to make it a little easier for my counterattack on day 2. Ammo. Alright. Where are my supplies? Well, that's interesting. Major assault on my lines all the way down. Something he should have done a long time ago. Alright, Loomis, you gotta back up, dude. And that's why. Alright, that was his last desperate attempt. By breaking my lines, and of course it didn't happen. Got about a 4,300 man advantage now. And we'll see where things stand going into day 2. Okay, time to head to day 2. Okay, so he's got just 29,000 men now to my almost 42,000. So let's go ahead and go back to camp for just a second. I don't think there's much I can do because I pretty well spent everything. I do have a few men. My main thing here is that I just don't have commanders, and I don't have the money to get more, so nothing I can do about that, really, unless I spend my supplies. Okay. Get a major for that. Alright, and then we'll put what's left back into supply. I don't think it'll let... Oh, yeah, I guess it might let me do this. Huh, don't have that many farmer rifles. Awesome. And don't have that many men. Okay. Okay, let's do it. So now we've got to go back and take everything that we lost. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick at victory conditions. At least one must be fulfilled out of Hold Spain Field, Shiloh Church, Lockerbell Field. And then, of course, I need to make sure I leave somebody back to guard Pittsburg Landing. So I just need to take one of these 3. And I'm thinking this looks like the winner right there. So we're going to leave a few units back to hold Pittsburg Landing. But for the most part, I'm going to send Buell's army out to take the casualties here. I've got 3 hours to get down there and take that position. Just want to make sure I'm taking all of Buell's troops over here. And then if I decide I need more, I'll send my army out there. But I don't want to send any more of my troops to be slaughtered than necessary. I want to preserve as many of those men as I can. So I'm pretty content to let Buell's army take this if I can. Keep the supplies back too. He's got artillery over there. There's Garfield. I'm assuming that may be General future President Garfield. Basically from Grant all the way up through McKinley, with the exception of Grover Cleveland, I believe that every, maybe Chester Arthur too, I'm not sure, but basically every man elected president had been a Civil War veteran, most of them from Ohio. That was kind of a stretch from Grant, who was the 18th president, up through like the 1920s when you had Harding elected, where the vast majority of presidents were elected from Ohio. And of course Harding was such a bad president, apparently the nation had enough, and we haven't elected a president from Ohio since. But you had Grant, who of course was a Civil War general, Rutherford B. Hayes, who was in the same unit with William McKinley. I think they were both in the 23rd Ohio. Of course, James Garfield was a Union general, but then he left in the middle of the war to get elected to Congress. Benjamin Harrison, who was a grandson of William Henry Harrison and a great-grandson of another Benjamin Harrison who signed the Declaration of Independence. So we've got 2 hours, so we can't dilly-dally too much here. Need to start moving down toward this objective, and if I find that I don't have the troops to take it and hold it, I may have to send some of my army from over here, but I'm hoping to avoid that. Of course, when Garfield ran for president, he actually ran against another Civil War general, Winfield Scott Hancock, who was the Democrat nominee for president in 1880. And it was a pretty close election. I don't think the Electoral College showed it being close, but in terms of the popular vote, it was fairly close. Of course, not nearly as close as the 1876 election had been. And if you remember, if you're old enough like me to remember the 2000 election with Bush and Gore, and you think that was bad, it had nothing on the 1876 election in terms of drama and how close it was and all the things that went into that. Oh, here comes Nathan Bedford Forrest, right there. So we need to get to right here. So a long way to go yet. I'm starting to feel like maybe I don't have the troops to do this. I don't know. I'm going to start shifting some folks over. Hour and a half. Oh, Hare's holding up pretty good. Bring Timony over. Get Loomis over here. I'm going to get him into position right here, just so I can see what's going on, see if he's got anybody covering that objective at all, before I make my move on it. Numbers-wise, he's just down to under 24,000 men now. So if I threw everybody at him, I could definitely overwhelm him if I need to. Alright, we'll send the cavalry up here first. Just kind of like a scout. In the meantime, let's see what's happening up here. I think we're good. He's all but abandoned attacking my left over here. So I can probably shift over a little more. Alright, we got Shiloh Church. Now I've just got to hold it. A little bit of a problem here. I'm going to send Bruce back up. Again, none of these are my men, so if some of them get lit up, it's not a huge deal. Still not crazy about being routed. But it's not the end of the world. Shift Boyle down so he's not getting flanked. Alright, I'd say this pretty well should do it. Now we just gotta hang on, inflict some casualties. Oh, look at him coming at me over here. Oh, Boyle. No. You got to stay facing. There you go. Got Gibson down there just in time. So it should be good. I've got Shiloh Church. I've got Pittsburg Landing. That's all I need for a victory. Now I just need to hold the line and inflict some casualties. Dang, look at this battery. 2,600 kills. There's 10-pounders. I'm going to drop them back, though. Or at least put them in right there. He's throwing everything he's got at me. Yeah, he's not even making an attempt on this objective. Okay, so that should do it. We'll inflict a few more casualties on the way out the door here. Some battles you have to get creative with strategy. Other battles it's just really a matter of managing your troops, and that's really how kind of this one was. Just a matter of managing your troops on the field, holding the defenses, and then exploiting an opportunity to take the objective and win. So there we have it. 9,400 casualties for me. Lost some guns, lost some cavalry. Inflicted over 20,000 casualties on him when you count everything up. Didn't grab a whole lot. Grabbed a bunch of the useless farmer rifles. Captured some 6-pounders. That's the one drawback on the Union side, of course, is when you're the Confederate and you're winning victory after victory, you get to grab all these weapons that are better than what you have. When you're the Union, you have the better weapons, which means you have to buy them all, which kind of stinks, but that's just the way it goes. Okay, so history guy's still a brigadier general, but I'm going to need a second corps anyway pretty soon. Let's see. So he got 41,000 more men, so he's up to 73 to 78. What are we going to be doing next? So we're going to be doing the Secure River before we get into the Valley Campaign. I can take 12 brigades into that one. He's going to have 18,000 men. That'll probably scale up some. So we'll go ahead and replace my general with Grant for now. Okay. Going politics again. Where are we at on army organization? I don't think I need more on that yet. I'll just keep going politics. Okay, so got our first 2-star unit. O'Hare's Ohio Outlaws has hit 2-star status. Excellent. Of course, that means I've got to be cautious as far as not being able to give them rookie units. Or rookie men. It's actually not a bad idea there to buy those 1855s. Also got some Hartford's Ferries here. Actually, I think I'll buy those. Another 2-star unit. Excellent, excellent. So Paper Collar Brigade's also at 2 stars. Now we can go rookie a little bit. Want to keep him at 2 stars though. I'm going to go 1750 here, and then I'm actually going to give them those new rifles I just bought. The Harper's Ferry 1855s. How much would it cost to max them out? 24,000. Actually, that's not bad. Yes, sir. Of course, there's going to be more here just because I have to buy more guns. All right. Yes, sir. So I'm going veteran as much as possible with at least this 1st brigade. There's my 24-pounders. We'll get that up to 16. What can I take 12 brigades into this fight? I've got lots of 1842s sitting there in the armory. Yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. So I come out of Shiloh in pretty good shape. I'm starting to get a decent army going here. So it's 10. I can have 12. So I think we'll stop right there, just because I don't want to see him scaled too much. Let's see if that affected things. I think he was at like 17.8. Yeah, so that put him up to 20,000. But still, I'll have an advantage there. Not really. By the time you figure I can't use all these brigades. So it's going to be pretty even, but that's where tactics come in. So there you have it. Battle Shiloh. As always, I welcome your input, your observations, things I could have done differently, things I should have done better, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you think I ought to do moving forward, and I welcome all those things. I will return to the Confederate campaign on Monday when I get into the final assault on Washington. That's going to be a several-part video series in and of itself, probably 3 parts just because of how big that battle is, maybe even 4, we'll see. But as always, thanks for watching. I turned 40 today, so happy birthday to me. Yes, I'm a 40-year-old playing video games, and I know a lot of you are too. So thanks so much for your support. If you'd hit that thumbs up, I would appreciate it. If you haven't already, if you'd subscribe as well, thank you for that. And we will see you again soon. Have a great weekend, everybody.